Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. People, this is going to be an unusual show. I'm gonna roll through this one. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot with the chat. I'm having some head stuff. It's making it just about impossible to read the stuff that's up on the screen. It may just be because I had way too much screen time today. I'm not exactly sure. And I was going to call off this evening's show, but you know what? I had this in the hopper, right? I had this thing in the hopper, and I want to get to it at some point. So I figure, why not today? This is a pretty sick story, man. If you guys are fans of 21 Jump Street, you remember this show, yeah? This was a show where Johnny Depp, who was a cop but could pass for somebody considerably younger than him, attended high school for the purpose of rooting out crime and this kind of thing, because crime's rampant in high schools across the country. It was a cool concept for a show, and got a lot of ink for Johnny Depp. Sadly, this happened for real, right? And you probably remember, if you're into true crime and you look at stuff like this online, you probably remember a woman that did this a year ago. Actually, it might have been 2 years ago. It's like the 22 and 23 year school year. A woman by the name of Shelby Hewitt, who was a social worker, right? And this woman decided to go to school, got all of the paperwork forged and all that so she could go and pretend to be a high school kid and maybe be a little bit cooler this time. She also filed for all kinds of assistance from the agency that she worked for, right? To say that she was a student that was special needs and all kinds of other stuff. She's a very sick human being. And I mean that in the kindest sense of the word. That she wasn't doing anything terrible to kids. There was nothing. She just was a really sick person. That's not the case with the cat I'm about to talk about. This guy graduated from a school, Lincoln Southwest High School. He graduated in 2015, right? Not exactly sure what happened after 2015, but if you look at his high school photo, he was a goon. Very small kid, looked like he was probably in the sixth grade instead of a senior. Fast forward, right, to 2023. This guy's 26 years old, right? And he goes and enrolls in the same school district, but instead of the South, he went to North. He went to Lincoln North High School and enrolled. Sadly, he got bounced out of that school, and I'll bet you can guess what he got bounced out of that school for. There were some allegations made by girls in the school that this kid was inappropriate. Now, they didn't catch him for being an adult. They just bounced him out of the school. His real name is Zachary Sheik. That's S-H-I-K. He was in school under the name Zachary Hess, Zach Hess. And the guy had assistance from a 23-year-old friend of his, right? This cat had to get a kid into school. If any of you are parents, if any of you have ever had to deal with what it takes to get a kid into school, there's a ridiculous amount of paperwork, right? I mean, there is a ludicrous amount of paperwork. This dude managed to get all of this done with a 23-year-old friend of his who pretended to be his mom. They pushed all of this paperwork through. The school admits they didn't check any of it. The immunization records, all of the stuff that proved that this guy is who he is. Apparently, the school districts don't really chase any of this stuff down. And for 54 days, right, Zachary Sheik, a.k.a. Zachary Hess, was milling around with girls 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. And everything bad that could happen did. He had sexual encounters with several of the young girls. He had digital stuff being sent back and forth. And when you get pictures of people not wearing things who are underage, you understand what that is. So he was charged with a whole litany of charges. You wouldn't believe it. He pled guilty so that they would drop about 10 or 12 of the other crimes. This cat ended up catching 85 to 100 years for his crimes. He's 27 years old. The crazy thing is that This is a situation that probably is not as unique as you think it is. I mean, maybe somebody 27 is, but I was reading a lot about this, and the predators, the people that prey on kids, um, literally will do nothing. I mean, stop at nothing to make this stuff happen. The amount of work that this sicko had to go through in order that he could get in there and try to solicit this stuff from kids is incredible. And the way he got busted is one of the coolest things in the world. And this is the reason for this video. The way that this cat got busted is he was brazen enough to go home with a couple of these girls and meet their parents. And somebody that is pretending to be something is probably got a much better shot of putting it across your kid than they do of sliding it by you, right? The only reason that this guy got popped is because parents said, man, there's something wrong with this kid. Like this doesn't add up. This kid doesn't seem in any way, shape, or form like a normal kid. And they started making phone calls, and the dude admitted immediately that, yeah, you know what, I was just wanting to get back to. At 27, the number of people that have been victimized has not been released, but it's a bunch of kids. It is a bunch of kids. The healing process for these people, this is absolutely hands down. And some of the experts that were called at sentencing hammered this home. But this is literally about the worst thing that you could possibly do to a kid, bar none. This is a place where a child is supposed to be able to feel like this is where we grow. You get a little bit of freedom, right? You get this much freedom where you're away from your parents. This is such a huge thing in the process of becoming a human, right? And the trust process that goes into the people you meet. These kids are going to be struggling for a really long time because of this low life. Really, this is one of the most horrific stories. And let's be really honest. I mean, if you comment on stuff on YouTube, all you do is look at really disgusting stories. This is as foul as any of them. There was a comment made at the sentencing by the judge who said, parents spend a lot of time talking to kids about what to be afraid of. They don't warn them to be afraid of other kids. And it's a pretty, the kids know that there are adults out there, and especially online and things like that are trying to prey on them. They don't assume, and rightly so, they shouldn't assume that they should have to worry about grown ass men in the halls of their junior high and high school. I would take this as a siren call. If you're a parent or a grandparent, talk to your kids more, man. For real. Talk to your kids. This is a pretty sick freaking world that we live in. A psychiatrist that I saw talking about this, psychologist rather, that I saw talking about this story said the parents of the kids that went forward and talked to the school, the healing process for those kids is so much farther ahead already than all of the other kids. And the takeaway from that, I think, should be that if your kid comes to you and says something doesn't seem quite right, as parents, if we go, come on, we've lost the greatest opportunity as parents that we're ever going to get. If a kid comes to you and says somebody did something or somebody said something, or I've got a feeling that this person is, I think the default freaking setting has to be that you believe your kid. You take the kid's hand and you walk them through the entire process until it's over, right? Supporting them and believing them at every step of the way. I think a lot of times, right, there's this, oh man, it's really going to be a long journey kind of a thought process that, maybe it'll just be better if they don't go through it. What you're doing is telling your kid that what happened isn't valid, right? That it's not really that big a deal. It's the most horrific mindset in the world. And I really hope that people see the video and maybe research this story and spend a little bit more time talking to our kids, because this is as disturbing as anything, for real. It's It's a bummer of a story. I wish I had better stuff to talk about. I really do. This has been an absolute buzzkill of a story. But there are people out there that do not have our kids' best interest at heart. Do me a favor, people. I'll take some ones. Let's see. The head is. I'm starting to work on a pretty good migraine. But I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. I really hope that I can do that. Between now and then, reach out and try to save somebody. All right. I'm Tommy. Appreciate you stopping by.